Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone, salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother, I am Noah Allah from Gemma, Chicago, and coming back with you with another lesson, alright? And basically, I just want to go ahead and, go in what's happening according to, prophecy, alright? And we understand in the scriptures that, according to the scriptures, right, that these prophecies will come to pass, in our lifetime, right? And we're living in these, in the time of a prophecy right now, right? And basically, there's now news showing up about, all right, India now monitoring this Nipah virus, all right, which now is, they're letting the public know that this is a deadly virus, all right, and basically what we're seeing right now is a repeat of 2020, all right, and what happened around 2020, all right, they talk about the Epstein, what, and right now, right, they're also talking about the EP owls right now too. And guess what's right around the corner? All right, potentially a new pandemic. All right, so Esau is getting ready to lock shit down again. All right, and the last pandy, all right, a lot of people took them jabs. All right, a lot of people. And so what, that ended up messing up their health basically, right? Their immune systems, right? All those who took those needles, and right around the corner, all right, you're hearing talks about this new, Nipah virus infection that's popping up on the news. Right, it says here, there's many news articles about it, right? Officials issue urgent warning amid race to contain outbreak of disease with no known cure. Intensified surveillance at border points. But yeah, that's what they're saying. Two cases of Nipah virus has been confirmed according to an Indian Health Ministry statement Tuesday reviewed by Post. Right? And what else? Oh yeah, basically what this virus does is right. You can reach from human to human, and symptoms will pop up 45 days later. All right. You know, and what's also on the news too, right? You got well, I'm gonna just play the video.
Our 8 News Now investigators breaking yet more news about that biolab that was raided over the weekend. Documents we obtained reveal several people got sick from it. 8 News Now investigator David Charnes breaking that story. And David, what are you learning about it tonight?
Well, these new documents say several people became sick from that suspected lab inside a house that police and the FBI are labeling as an Airbnb or short-term rental. Metro showing this video of the inside of that lab, inside that Northeast Valley's home garage. We've learned a person tipped off the FBI in early January that garage was locked and that there were fridges running inside. A person telling those investigators that it smelled like a hospital with a, quote, foul, stale, stagnant air smell. Now, documents say several days after entering that garage, two people became, quote, deathly ill They said they couldn't get out of bed, and several other people had gotten sick there before. Also learning items from this lab were moved from a different location here in the valley, possibly from several years ago when that location failed to get a state license. Now, as we first reported over the weekend, this lab is connected to a lab the feds actually raided 3 years ago in 2023. That location there in Reedley, California, outside Fresno. Inside, officials found similar equipment and pathogens like HIV and malaria. Court documents in that case mention Las Vegas and possible warehouses here. And today, I asked the city manager for that community about her reaction to this latest lab. What was your reaction when you saw over the weekend that all these same people were involved in yet another potential biolab, but this time in Las Vegas?
I will say that I was not surprised. I have sympathy for Vegas, and I feel very bad for that community that they had to endure what they endured over the week.
But nonetheless, you heard the news, all right? There's a biolab over there in Las Vegas, and several people have fell deathly ill, right? And Esau's releasing some shit, all right? Esau is lockdown and we understand why, all right? Because what? 2020 was just a test trial, all right? It was to get the public to fear into taking the what. But this time, all right, don't be surprised when they start pushing forth the MOTB, because ultimately that's what the elites want to establish at the end of the day, right? Nonetheless, according to the scriptures, it would tell us that the pestilences is one of the prophecies that we'll be seeing in these perilous times that we're coming into, right? But first, I'm gonna just start with at Matthew 24:6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So that's what we're seeing currently on the news, right? Wars and rumors of wars. So the end is not yet, because what? A major prophecy has to come to pass first before the war to end all wars comes to pass, which is the destruction of Babylon the Great by getting destroyed by the NATO and the EU and the chariots, right? But first, all right, the MOTB is a major prophecy that has to come to pass, right? It says, "For the nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." And ain't that what we're seeing here right now? All right, civil war. All right, America's on the brink of a civil war. All right, race wars, you name it. All right, you got NATO bucking up against the United States. All right, about Trump talking about taking over Greenland. All right, wars and rumors of wars. And what? Now we're seeing that pestilences is about to be a major problem here in America. All right, which will lead to chaos. People will panic and shit. All right, and they're gonna start looting the stores and all that, and all of that nature. All right. Damn. Damn. A lot of people who have lived inside the house have gotten sick, including one female who ended up in the hospital with severe respiratory issues. God damn. And well, I got carried away. But yeah, Nipah gives some serious respiratory issues. Yeah. Yeah. Mild respiratory issues like fever, cough, and sore throat, to severe neurological problems such as latitis, brain swelling, confusion, seizures, and coma, progressing rapidly within 24 to 48 hours in severe cases, in some infections being asymptomatic. Initial flu-like symptoms often include headache, muscle pain, fatigue, vomiting, followed by drowsiness, altered consciousness, and severe breathing difficulties. Damn. But yeah, this is what the Bible speaks of, right? These prophecies are really come to pass, right? And popping like popcorn. Let's say in earthquakes in diverse places, all these are the beginning of sorrows, right? And hey, we're in the beginning of sorrows right now. I mean, and it's only going to get worse. All right, we're in a time of Jacob's trouble, right? Shit's about to get real serious out here in the streets of America. All right, America was basically back into a government shutdown, but they passed the bill. All right, they keep the government funding open. All right. But nonetheless, you know that America is through. Right, there's a lot of political division. All right, civil war. America's on the brink of civil war. All right, what to know about the congressional fight over ICE restrictions and another possible government shutdown? And America is now got 2 weeks before another government shutdown occurs. All right. Then embrace law and order in ICE shutdown fight. Alright, so they got 2 more weeks left before the government shuts back down. But yeah, and that's basically what the scriptures speak about. All right, civil war. And hey, this is a time like no other. Alright? And hey, this is the worst time to have a child. Alright? This is the worst time to be married. The worst time, to bear a child. Alright? These people are through. Alright? It says Matthew 24:19. It says, woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. And then, then you feel like hell was about to break loose in the winter because of, what happened in November. All right, the government shut down. People lost their SNAP benefits. All right, people weren't getting SNAP benefits. All right, people were losing their jobs. Airports had issues. All right, people getting laid off from their federal jobs, having to go to food banks and shit like that, because the government shut down. They weren't getting any of that funding. They weren't getting paid. All right. Hey, this is what's going to drive people nuts when they realize that America is failing. But hey, this is exactly what Esau wants to do: create havoc, chaos. Right? A problem, reaction, solution scenario that Esau is trying to develop. It says, verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world till this time, no, nor ever shall be. Alright? It says, For there shall be great tribulation, right? Time like no other. And we're coming into those times very rapidly. It says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And that's right, In these days, a month literally felt like it goes by a few days now. Right? The Lord is speeding up the times for the elect's sake. All right, the 144,000 that are going to be delivered. All right, out of this time of they're going to be protected in the time of Jacob's trouble. And you look at Esau, so-called white man. All right, he's really showing his horns. All right, he's about to cause mass destruction all over the world. All right, he's showing you the kind of devil that he is. All right, he's not hiding it no more. All right, you see he has ICE out there in the streets of America. Look what he's mainly targeting. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, well, they haven't targeted you so-called blacks just yet, but it's going to get to that point. All right. They, in these perilous times that we're coming into, all right, just remember this, all right, that, no evil shall touch the Lord's elect. All right. Proverbs 12:21. There shall no evil happen to the just, but the wicked shall be filled with mischief. All right, so according to Psalms 91, all right, in the time of Jacob's trouble, all right, the elect will be taken care of. All right. Shit's about to really change so fast. Right? And Esau's about to declare martial law because what? This is the year of basically of just a bunch of black swan events. All right, this is this is the year of the polycrisis. See, a polycrisis is a situation where multiple interconnected crises, economic, environmental, political, social health, occur simultaneously, interreacting and amplifying each other to create outcomes far worse than the sum of their individual parts, making them harder to understand and solve. And this is what Esau is doing, right? He's creating these polycrises, right? Why? For a new world order. All right, they need to bring in the chaos. They need to bring in the mass destruction. Right? They want to put that people. They want to put fear into the mind of these people. But mainly you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, because guess what? These elites are the ones that are pulling the strings behind the scenes, behind closed doors. All right, they know that you are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? And Esau wants to chip majority of you. And that's exactly what's going to happen. But hey, Esau, he ain't going to be chipping the elect. All right? You're not going to be, Esau ain't going to be touching the Lord's elect at all. But nonetheless, hope this was an edifying lesson. All right, I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Shalom.